Look at me, teeny. Good morning, or actually good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're at. I am Bob Mata. I am your host here at Defense Diaries, a true crime podcast. And this is our long time continuing coverage of LORI VALLOW. Allie and I, actually, the first LORI VALLOW case, the Idaho case, is when I introduced Allie to the world in terms of a podcast. She came on and we covered LORI VALLOW's Idaho trial together, podcast only, not over here on the tubes. And that was the beginning of the magic for us. We loved doing it together. We had a great time covering that trial. And that was different because it was audio only. They didn't stream it. So it was, at the end of the day, they would release it. Allie would then go and listen at 2.5 times speed to all the testimony, pluck out whatever was interesting, and then we would go record that night. And then Darren, our producer, would rush to get the episodes out because we were trying to get them out daily. And then, sometimes they'd be 2.5, 3 hours, which is long for a podcast episode. So, point being that we are well schooled in the ways of LORI VALLOW and her evil ways. Like, the big thing in our coverage of LORI VALLOW at that point was she, I thought that she was the puppet master. I thought Chad was a moron. I didn't think that guy was running anything. I thought she was running the whole game. And I think I finally got Allie over to that side by the end of it. Jacqueline, I've really been trying to get Colby on. We have a friend of the show that I think is going to help us now with Colby. Like, Colby, I guess, isn't doing other shows at this point right now, but I think we're going to get another special guest that's got some direct knowledge. So, but I think we have to wait until after he testifies. So we'll see. I'd love to have Colby on. I'd love to have Colby on. I think if Colby went and listened to our episode that we did regarding his testimony and his jail call, where I just lost my shit, like I could not stop crying, I think he'd probably come on. Like that hit me like a ton of bricks, that whole thing. Like I could not stop sobbing. Like, Allison was like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like, "I don't know." I'm like, it strikes a chord for some reason. I could not. It was strange. I just could not stop sobbing. It was so much for me. It was such like that phone call was just so much. So I'm really excited about Allie's joining. I just got her from the airport, fresh from New York City, fresh from Brooklyn. And she had a nice weekend out there with our friends for a baby shower, and she has arrived home. So I'm thrilled that she is back. I think she's trying to do some final things to get prepared. She's having some allergy shit go on. So I think she's trying to clear sinuses and things of that nature. So she'll be here. She'll be here. So I've got it up at this point. They have not started it. So the word on the street is that they're going to be running it a half an hour late. So that will, meaning that there's going to be a half an hour delay. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. I mean, it's a hell of a lot better than 6 hours, because that's what, I mean, it was for the original trial in Idaho. I mean, they'd wait about an hour, or maybe sometimes an hour and a half, 2 hours before they'd release the audio for each day. So half an hour is good. Like, I don't exactly know what the point of it is for like a half an hour. I'm not sure what they're trying to protect against. Maybe I'm assuming, like in a case with like some really brutal crime scene photos. I can see that being an issue, where they might want to have that buffer so that they can cut stuff out. But in this particular trial, as to Charles Vallow, I don't really see what the point is. But so if you guys are not familiar with Lori Vallow's case, shame on you, first of all, because it is an insane case. She is an insane person. And like my position on her has been very clear for a long time. It's like that's why I always laugh. I'm like, oh, Bob thinks everybody's innocent. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't. Couldn't be further from the truth. She is. I've just always felt that she is teeming with mental illness. I think that she actually believes all the shit that she says. I really do. Like no one's convincing me otherwise. Like I think that she actually believes the things that she's talking about. Mandy, were you able to change Mandy? She put out the amazing thumb that I loaded up this morning. And then she's like, the tagline should have been 50 Shades of Cray. I'm like, oh my God, that's so good. I don't know if she got it changed. I mean, Mandy does have real life shit she has to do. So I hope she got that done because that's like, oh, there she is. This guy here. There she is. So I don't know if she got that thumb changed. I was running back from the airport, had to jump in the shower, and then jumped on with y'all. So I don't know. Dude, she really is. She's like, she is a genius. I was like, oh my God, that is so good. She's like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah, that's amazing. She's like, should I use that? I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. So that's cool. I didn't even see what it looks like. I actually want to peep it. Oh, we got some noise. We got some hot mic shit going. It sounds like there's still so right now, here I'll show you all what I'm looking at. Yay, there she is. She's like, "Did they see me? Did they see me on camera?" I'm like, "Yes, they saw you." What? Oh, hi. All right. Mild. I was talking mild shit, not too much. That's what I'm looking at right now. That is the live shot outside of Maricopa County. I've got a couple of friends of the show in that courtroom. I was if like Reed wasn't bumping up against this, I was gonna fly out for at least a week of this. But like with the Reed thing, I know they have 10 jurors over there. So I don't know if you guys were able to kind of see what the deal was on the community page. I had posted something and how we're going to handle this because we do have an affinity for covering this case, much more than Chad. Like Jay and I dipped on Chad, and that like ran up against Reed, the first Reed trial. That's when we dipped on that. And some people were upset. I know Megan Spitfire was like, "Oh God, what are you doing?" But it's like I just couldn't look at his head anymore, blocking the sun. It was crazy. Lori's a different thing for me. She's just and the fact that she is repping herself, I think, is appointment streaming. I just think it is going to be unbelievable. And I need y'all to understand. I mean, I've been watching. We haven't streamed all of her hearings, but I've watched all of them. And she has taught herself the lingo. I think she's got a pretty decent handle on the legalese. Like she's not going to sound like an idiot in terms of, being able to speak lawyer speak to a certain extent. She's going to be able to do that. I'm just kidding. If you're not watching any of it, you'll see in pretty short order that she's able to do that relatively effectively. The problem for her is going to be pretrial motions. And I tweeted that this morning. Pretrial motions are not the same thing as trying a case because the rules of evidence are much different in pretrial hearings. and depending on what type of hearing it is, they can be lax in terms of what you can get in, the rules that you need to follow in terms of getting things in. She does have the advantage that she's got her, she's got an actual attorney that's sitting there as backup, who's actually going to be sitting at the table with her, so they can like lawyer whisper in her ear if she's getting stuck on something. But it's still going to be challenging for her. It's still going to be very challenging for her. But I just think this is going to be unbelievable. I think it's going to be just appointment streaming. Like I said, I just think it's going to be something that we have to watch. So all that being said, I had posted in the community page, we've got over 40,000 subs. I expected a lot more than 179 like thumbs up, but more importantly, comments in there. It's like, when I want to hear from the community, I want to hear from you guys. Like, I'm asking you. So I don't know, like, and this wasn't a members only thing. This was something that I posted on the community page. You guys should check that out. I post there pretty frequently. And a lot of times I'm asking ponderables to you guys because we want to know what makes you all happy. So the question is do we split Allie and I up, where Allie's covering Vallow at the same time that I'm covering Reed on two separate streams? Oh, hi, babe.
Mandy gave you the alert that I was here.
Thank you. Well, welcome back to my beautiful and brilliant co-host. What's up, girl? And welcome home.
Hey, babe. Hey, y'all. My allergies are a little.
I warned them. I warned them that your allergies were flaring up as soon as you walked in the house. They're probably not going to be made any better in the basement either.
No.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
But she did take a Zyrtec, so hopefully that will kick in.
So Zyrtec, I know Zyrtec's sort of like a building up thing. Like the only thing that actually works like that is Benadryl, and then that knocks you out,
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't hurt, so I did take it.
Yeah, I mean, I take it like I take it in the morning.
Every day, then yeah, it's working,
Yeah, I try to. So I was just
I heard you talking about it. So
yeah, so I posted that at your request, I think on maybe it might have been yesterday, could have been Saturday. I can't remember which day. So I posted it. I'm like, do you guys want us to split it up, or like what? I think most people want us to stay together. I think there were a couple.
But see, the thing I don't know about is like, are most people that are answering those questions like are hardcore people, which are going to be deeply invested in Reed, deeply invested in Allen, not as invested in Vallow. But there are our podcasts on Vallow got,
huge numbers.
Yeah. So I feel like there's people out there.
Oh, there are people deeply invested in Vallow.
No, I mean, but would be deeply invested in seeing our coverage of it.
I think we can do a pretty effective. What we need to be able to do for our nightly recaps, I don't know if AI can go through and just transcribe what happens so that we're not having to watch it all. Because it would be nice if we could just pull out.
No, I don't think that AI can watch it all like a lawyer and highlight what's important for lawyers.
I think it can. Well, I think it can give us maybe not what lawyers would say or would want to cover, but in terms of like for instance, when we're done with StreamYard with one of our streams, okay, like the new thing is it's like, oh, hey, do you want us to make clips from the thing that you just did for 2.5 hours? And it'll make 20 clips between 1 and 3 minutes long that are awesome. So
all right, wait. There's talking going on and we don't hear it, babe.
Okay, hold on.
Nothing.
No, it's not muted. I don't think they have the mics on in the courtroom yet.
All right, and you still have the volume all the way up?
Yeah.
Like to be present in the courtroom for the trial. I think that the court has previously allowed another witness that the defendant had also listed, reporter Nate.
So the last time that I actually boosted it, I used the other volume booster, the one that's called Volume Booster for YouTube, and I boosted it on the page, and everyone heard the difference. Not our page, on the page I was streaming, but when I use the other one that's just called Volume Booster, which It might be the one you're using.
Well, I've got 2 boosters on there.
Well, try. So rewind a little bit and try it, and I'll tell you if it changes.
Wait, but
both.
Like, I'm not going to worry about it until we actually hear the people like on the mics.
Pretty soft. Oh.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that I've been watching some of Vallow, and the mics seem to be pretty good.
All right.
You know what I mean? But what I'm saying, I don't know if I have that plugin downloaded. I mean, you may have downloaded it on your computer. I don't know if I have that.
What are you watching this on? I'll get ready with it just in case.
All right, Mandy, you need to cover up Law and Crime, girl. Like, switch out our frame. Oh, there it is, 50 Shades of Grey. Isn't that great?
We're sorry. All circuits are busy. Please.
Just getting carried away, this one.
She is. She's just so carried away. All right, flip us over to the other side. Where did that go?
Sounds pretty soft to me.
Okay, here. We gotta cover that up. Like, that's gonna be something that has to happen. Wait, I haven't played it yet.
I'm listening to it on my end.
Okay, but let's wait until Lori's speaking. I don't know who's speaking right now.
Eaton to be in this courtroom. The court had indicated that if these individuals were not subpoenaed, that the court would look at precluding them. It has been over a month since she has noticed him. He has not been subpoenaed. He is a victim in another case against this defendant. I'm asking that he be permitted to remain in the courtroom today.
There's Lori in first chair.
Let me hear from the defendant.
Your Honor, our subpoenas were with OPDS, so I do not have any. We're looking for some confirmation from when those went out.
Well, is this a witness that is, first of all, have relevant information and likely to be called as a witness?
Yes.
What's the relevant information?
There's several things, but he will be called to talk about things that he was involved with my husband during that time.
Well, has the state interviewed this witness? Or potential witness?
Not with regards to this case. I don't
How
know
is this
what
sound
will
for
be
you
called to
guys?
talk about things means.
You hear it?
So I would like a little more information as to what the.
To me, it sounds beautiful. Like clear, like super clear.
Sounds soft to me.
What do you guys think? Let me see. Oh my God, it's
everyone's saying good, good, good.
Yeah, I mean, turn your shit up, babe.
Yeah, maybe my shit's down.
I think your shit's down.
But what about us? Are we too loud?
My mic is on auto because I don't have a boost on.
So's mine.
Kira says you are much louder. Who? Kira, Allie, or I? Which one of us? I have mine on regular. All right, I want to do an objection counter because when you have a pro se defendant, it's going to be legendary amount of objections from the state.
Who's going to be counting? Mandy?
I mean, we could put Mandy on it.
Then that would make it hard for her to.
Or we could put Tracy on it. Tracy, do you want to be the objection counter?
Because Mandy's got to be ready with the sound.
I mean, Mandy's working on law and crime shit right there. That thing can that aggression can.
Can I tell you guys something? So I found this thing where we edit the layout, right? And it lets me, for example, do this. Let's see. I'm going to do it. Wait. Well, but that doesn't help. But when we had like a thing, a logo thing, I was able to move it, edit it, and move it around. Could also.
Wait, what were you able to move around? Like that was the only thing about Jay's thing. Like he could just take like a logo and just put it wherever the hell he wanted on the screen without having to create like a whole new border.
That's what I'm saying. I think we can too. But all
right, I'm gonna turn my mic down a little bit, babe, because I've got a few people saying Brooklyn's saying perfect. Some guys, some people are saying we're louder.
All right, I'll turn mine down too.
I'm gonna crank mine down to probably like
50.
50. Yeah, I'll try that.
I did. Let's see.
Okay, so yeah, because I'm currently at 100. How's this sound? This is 60. This is 60. How's that sound? Testing 1 2 1 2. Testing 1 2 1 2. Is that good?
Do it. That didn't help.
Cord is. All right. Let me see. I'm going to get out of. So, what are you saying is the boost? There's the volume booster. I have 2 volume boosters.
Well, here's what I want you to do. Play it and try them both, and I'll tell you if they change in my ears.
I don't know. What I'm saying is I don't know if I'm going to look for the volume booster. Is that what you said? It's called volume booster.
I don't know, because when I did it, here, take you off while you look for it, and I'm going to try this. You guys tell me. I got to turn it off, though, I think.
Volume booster for YouTube web store. I mean, there's a bunch of them.
I'm going to change. I'm going to do. Wait, but I'll just.
Did you pull mine? Do you want me to pull mine off?
I did it. Wow. That's crazy. What's that?
Some cool shit Mandy made. I don't know what it is. It looks like 4-leaf, 3-leaf clovers or some shit.
I gotta rewind.
So I do not have any.
Sounds great.
For some confirmation for when those went out.
Sounds great to me. I don't know if it's louder. I mean, people can control their volume.
So why'd they go to a break? We have to go back and hear what happened.
I don't know.
So this is when before
that
This is employer individually.
Is that with a booster on?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, this is the first sound of the.
Don't worry, Dorothy. We're not missing anything.
Nope. This is the beginning. He can't even hear the judge.
His employer
There you go.
and offer to write a letter if he needs one to his employer about the requirements of jury service and just sort of feel out that situation a little further, but we'll keep him on for right now. Please silence all phones. As I said, we are still missing 1 juror. As soon as those jurors all get here, we will proceed into the opening statements.
Judge, I did email the court staff about an individual, Brandon Boudreau, who would like to be present. He's in the courtroom currently. He has been noticed by the defendant back on March 6th as a potential witness. He has not been subpoenaed to date. He is here and would like to be present in the courtroom for the trial. I think that the court has previously allowed another witness that the defendant had also listed, reporter Nate Eaton, to be in this courtroom. The court had indicated that if these individuals were not subpoenaed, that the court would look at precluding them. It has been over a month since she has noticed him. He has not been subpoenaed. He is a victim in another case against this defendant. I'm asking that he be permitted to remain in the courtroom today.
All right, let me hear from the defendant.
Your Honor, our subpoenas were with OPDS, so I do not have any. We're looking for some confirmation for when those went out.
Well, is this a witness that is, first of all, have relevant information and likely to be called as a witness?
Yes.
What's the relevant information?
There's several things, but
Go ahead.
he will be called to talk about things that he was involved with my husband during that time.
Well, has the state interviewed this witness? Or potential witness?
Not with regards to this case. I don't know what he will be called to talk about things means. So I would like a little more information as to what the relevance is of
I
this
heard
witness.
things. I heard things.
He has to have relevant information, which, as I've said, is testimony that makes a fact more likely or less likely. That's an issue in the case. So what fact would you testify about that make it more likely or less likely? Can you give me some sort of specific information that you would expect him to testify to?
Yes, Your Honor. His Communications with my husband up to the date of his, of this incident.
Regarding
What would those communications be? And how are they not hearsay?
They're his communications with my husband. That's how they're not hearsay.
regarding
Type of communications?
Phone calls, text messages.
I meant what substance? Can you give me some
Regarding-
idea of the relevant information that he would provide to the jury that would help them make a decision?
Wait, is she frozen? Or is she just sitting?
Muted. So I'm saying that's your first introduction to she's not a lawyer, so she's misunderstanding hearsay.
Right.
Hearsay is
Well, it's
any-
beyond just hearsay.
Well, I
Like,
know,
he's
but I'm just
asking her
saying
what is the context
that
of
part.
what you're-
Yeah, I
right.
get that too. But
Well,
hearsay
I know
is
you do.
no, and I think we all do that. She's not she's intentionally not answering his question. She knows damn well he wants to know what exactly this guy is going to testify to. But
Oh no, Kathy, I'm giving it to her this whole trial, girl. No calming down. I'm gonna ride her like a rented mule.
all right, so
I'm talking about Lori Vallow.
we know, babe. Oh, well,
Okay.
at least I hope we know. You can ride me like a rented mule.
Ooh, girl, saucy.
Right?
Kids,
Somebody
put
strike
on
that
your
from the
earmuffs.
record. Mandy, when this goes live, let's strike that from the record. I've been away from Bob for a couple days. Hearsay is any.
Bukaki.
Wow. That from the
She
record
just
as well.
makes it work. Yeah, strike that
Wrong
from the record
trial.
as well. No, but she's just keeping it along that track. An any out of court statement offered for the truth of the matter asserted. It is not a defense to hearsay that I was involved in the conversation. So was it in a courtroom? Was there a jury there? Was there a court reporter? Was it a deposition? So
And just what the hell is he gonna talk about?
right, yeah,
Like,
obviously.
we have to know if it's relevant.
Spill the beans there.
Yeah,
Don't-
like
just trying to
spit it.
hold- Oops, sorry. I guess lost my. She still didn't answer the question.
Without giving away my entire defense.
Well, we don't just get to call witnesses that,
Oh, this is gonna be so
you know,
good.
are going to testify about, we talked about the weather that day, you know, so you do need to give me some sort of information about what his anticipated testimony would be.
Well, his relevance in coming that day to do an intervention on me with the family.
Is this witness, Mr. Bardreau, is in the courtroom?
Yes, he is,
Boudreaux.
Your Honor.
Right.
Yeah, why should he be allowed in the courtroom?
All right, let's go on sidebar.
He is not a friendly witness for Lori. I don't know why she thinks that Brandon Boudreaux is going to be anything other than hostile.
What she wants to do is get the facts out that he knows. You know what I mean?
It's going to be like pulling teeth. If you
Right.
guys don't know, they made an attempt on Brandon Boudreaux's life as well. So when they were trying to
Oh, wait. So they do some sort of from the seat sidebar.
yeah, they put on headphones and mute the mics and mute. So interesting.
Wow.
This is going to be so good. This is going to be so good. This trial is probably going to be more interesting and entertaining to watch than Reed is.
All
Just
right, well, they're
because
still on
Lori's
sidebar.
representing herself.
All right, we're live and they're on a sidebar. I'll put the
Okay.
time back to regular.
All right,
speed.
so that's a good opportunity. So as you guys may or may not know, Peter, the lawyer you know is joining us tonight. He had to push it back. I think we're going to start at 8 Central, so 9 Eastern. He's got a family thing going on, so he had to push us back a half an hour. So I haven't changed the time yet. I will, but just forewarning, that's going to be pushed back until 8 o'clock as opposed to 7:30 Central Standard Time.
All right, so
Pete,
for those of
you're gonna
you
be up
who,
this
so
morning.
what time is it? I'm sorry, babe.
It's going to be moved from 7:30 p.m. till 8
Our
p.m.
time,
Central Standard Time. So that's 9
Eastern.
Eastern and then 7.
All right, so
Pacific.
let's tell people who Bedreau is. That's the cousin's
No.
husband.
Oh, well, yeah, it's Melanie Boudreaux's
What- Was that the friend? Because there's two Melanie, one that's a family, one
Melanie
that's
Gibb is the friend.
okay.
Okay.
So it's
Melanie Boudreaux is the fam.
is
So
the cousin.
that's,
It's her
I
cousin's
think it might be her
husband
niece.
or her niece's husband. That might be right. I
I think
actually have all of my Vallow notes like in
yeah, I think it's Lori's niece, and it is Melanie Boudreaux's
I have like a chart
husband.
of everybody.
Because
But yeah,
remember, Melanie, like Lori had been able to suck Melanie Boudreaux into the web, right? So she had her sucked in. And so Brandon was like, dude, what is going on with you, bro?
oh, I gotta see if
Yes,
Charlotte will
yes.
bring me
Remember,
tissue.
thank you, thank you. We would refer to her as Melanice. Melanice, remember?
Melanies. Oh,
Yeah.
we've got a one of our someone who watched or I guess everybody was doing that,
I think
right?
everybody was doing that.
Oh yeah.
But I think we started it.
I'm
I didn't
pretty
hear
sure.
any. I don't think anybody else. I didn't hear anybody else do it because we weren't listening to anybody else's coverage. So, because we were doing it every.
Yeah, but I think
But maybe I saw it on the
maybe
Twitter
we saw it on
machine. Who
yeah,
knows?
I feel like someone else made that up, dude. Bob likes to
Yeah.
invent everything.
I mean, I'm pretty punny. I could throw down with a pun.
All right, yeah, I found my chart.
Oh, you
Lori
found
Vallow
your.
Daybell. Chat. Wait, I can't read it. It's Charles, ex-husband, Alex Cox brother.
Yeah, it could have been Gigi, but it may have been simultaneous.
I don't even oh yeah, Melanie Pulowski, aka Boudreaux, niece. So she is charged with separately for the attempted murder of
I'll allow it. I'll allow it, Caroline. No, I really only try to take credit for shit that I started because people steal my shit all the time. And I don't
I mean,
necessarily hate
Bob
it.
brought
I brought a lot of shit back. She was
what's the
gonna
drink?
salty.
What's the drink? No, I was gonna mock you.
Oh,
You
what?
brought
Cereal flavored milk?
no, the I'm like the drink from Mexico that I'm like drawing
Horchata.
horchata to the Midwest.
That's right. That's true. That's true. I
I
had
think
it.
drinking it before he was living in the Midwest. I forget how you think you brought it.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Before I grew up in the Midwest, I mean, I had a few years when my stepfather was in the military that I was not in the Midwest, but I came back for.
And you brought it with you when you came back.
Well, actually, the first time I had it was I was in California. I went to a Del Taco. And I was like, no, if you're talking about the courtroom being paused, they're on a sidebar right now.
And I'm controlling it, so we're good. We're
Are you
on a
live?
sidebar. I'm live.
Okay.
Oh. Yep.
Is that what you're talking about, Kai? The courtroom? I always keep an eye on
You
it.
can see the scroll. That's how you know we're live.
So yeah, Del Taco was the first place I ever had it, and that was in California because I'm telling you, it did not exist in the Midwest. And then I came back.
Beautiful messy ball that we somehow heard it from someone else. Melanie.
Yeah, I'm giving love to Gigi. Gigi very, very well could have come up with that. And I follow Gigi on Twitter. That's why I was saying it could have been I got it from the Twitter machine.
Rum chata is delightful.
Rum chata is delicious.
Yeah.
Like rum chata was like when it came out, I'm like, oh my God, that was back when I drank. I'm like, they made the most delicious thing ever.
Yes, right.
I'm like, they could just like pump that shit right into my veins.
Yes.
If only my veins had taste buds, because like you can't, like the taste is just, it's so creamy and delicious. It's like I always try, like people have never had horchata. I'm like, well, it's liquid rice pudding. Like if you love rice pudding, you're going to love horchata because it's exactly what it is.
We went to visit our friends in Louisville / Indiana,
Yeah.
and I asked our friend, "Can I give your daughter horchata?" She was like, "Yeah, okay." They didn't know what horchata was. I was like, "Oh, hoo, hoo." I'm like, "It's kind of close to bedtime."
Yeah. So good though.
She loved it.
It's so good.
And they were already like, it's too late for her to be up. We all went out to dinner kind of late, and she's, they're pretty good about her schedule. So she was already up late, and then she had some horchata. Whew, never asked how she went to bed that night.
It was game on. It was game on. So, Allie, while we're killing time, and look, we're not going to miss a second of it.
No.
If we're talking right now, they're on a sidebar. If you're joining us late, we're not missing anything. It looks like they were going to show us that when they were at the table, but it's like they must have a mandate to show the seal when they're on a sidebar. Sidebars are going to take a long time in this trial because even though it's not the judge's job, nor is he really allowed to, he's not allowed to tell her how to lawyer.
No.
This is not,
and he's not going to.
He's not going to.
Judges, it's like that's the freaking price you paid. And, like there may be some things like something that would be so serious that it could be like
mistrial type shit.
Right. This might be reversible error. It's so bad. That he kind of steps in, but for the most part, she's gonna have to make her own mistakes. And if she can't come up with a valid exception to a hearsay objection, even if one exists, the judge is not going to give it to her.
No, that's for sure. And the other thing is that she does have counsel at the table next to her. So that's going to help Matt. Like that's going to be a difference between, like, say, for instance, Daryl Brooks in this case, because she'll have an actual lawyer who can whisper in her ear, like, all right, Lori, this is what you need to say to get this thing in. Because there's just terms of art that you have to use in order to get things in terms of evidence. There's rules of evidence that, no matter how much she's read, because like I said, I was telling Allie, because I don't know how many of the pretrial hearings you've watched, but she's developed a sense of the legalese. Like, so she sounds lawyer-ish when she's speaking, as opposed to just like a total layperson. So, like, she's able to sound a bit like a lawyer, but in terms of knowing how to do it, yeah, it's a different thing.
Even when we've got people who, like, even I've got a couple of people serving, life sentences that have spent the last 20 years researching the law, and like they get really close and they make like really strong arguments, but they're missing like
nuances,
whole aspect of it. Right. So, and I'm like, oh, I see why you think that works, but here's why it doesn't, and that's going to be a thing. And her lawyer can only, like chime in so much, I mean, not as far as like responding to objections, but like if she's handling the questioning of a witness and she's just like fucking it.
Yeah.
There's only so much her lawyer can do to kind of guide her.
Yeah. I mean, that's where I was at. Like our Kraken, I don't know if you listened to Allie and I's coverage of the Idaho trial, but like I was very much that she was the puppet master. I mean, it was like our cover art was, I told, I think it was Alex who created it for us. I'm like, I want her with like the marionette puppet string things in her hands, because it was like I had her, and we called the series No Strings Attached.
Right.
So because it was like my view was that she was running shit, that Chad was just a moron, and that Lori was running the game. I still like, I think I got you there.
I was like thinking I've got to go back and listen to it, because I think you got me to a certain extent. Look, there was no like Kraken's comment goes without saying. Like she definitely was manipulating men her entire life. You saw it with the police from the very first interview. And Bob and I were sort of joking on the drive from the airport that she's going to think, like she's up there thinking she can throw on her Utah submissive female voice and bat her eyelashes and like have the whole jury under her spell, But I still thought that she was manipulated by Chad to a certain extent.
I don't think so.
But I can't remember.
That guy is not manipulating anyone, especially not Lori Vallow.
Everyone that read his book, an entire religion. Okay.
I think there were like 17 people that read his book.
Once they did the offshoot, but initially he was doing the circuit, and he was well known.
I think there were like 17 people that read his book. Like maybe 18. I'll go 18.
Jury
It's
came.
like they might
what?
flat out be waiting for the jury to get in there. I don't know.
I mean, I still have it up.
Pokey Mom said that we're 15 minutes away from the jury being in. Jury came in at about 15. So at 1:30, Pokey said jury came in at about 15 minutes ago. 15 minutes left to wait. So
right.
remember, we are a half an hour behind of what's going on live in court. That's
Really?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
all right. So, I saw a comment. Sorry, I can't highlight it because it was a while ago. Someone asking if she's out on bond. She's serving a life sentence for the murder or conspiracy to commit murder of her children. So, and she would have been held on this case anyway. But yeah, she is in custody. She
Oh yeah,
will
she's a convicted unaliver.
Well, I've already said it at this point.
Yeah.
And they are talking about whether or not her niece's ex-husband, what's his first name? I know it's Boudreaux, but
Brandon
Boudreaux should be allowed to sit in the courtroom. Now, Lori has put Brandon on her witness list, and the judge was probing Lori to tell her how it's relevant and why it's not hearsay. And Lori kind of whined about not giving out her entire defense, but Bob was asking, now I forget. Oh, so the state's point was, well, he's a witness in another trial because she is tried with his murder or attempted murder because in connection with her brother, who is now deceased, Alex Cox, who is actually the person many believed unalived everybody. He definitely, without a doubt, shot and killed her ex-husband, husband at the time, whose trial we're here for now, but he claimed it was in self-defense. And Bob's saying, well, I don't know why she wants to call Brandon Boudreaux anyway. He is not a friendly witness to the defense, and that is true. So Bob's point is that this is one of the things she's underestimating, how hard it is going to be for her to get him to say what she wants him to say, even if it's, factual. He's going to be instinctively trying not to agree to her, whatever it is, that point she's trying to make,
Yeah. Oh, there's movement. I hear movement.
Yeah. I got to get Scarlett to bring me down tissues. This is bad.
Where are they? I'll run them down.
I took them into Cameron's room.
I'll run them down.
Oh, thanks, babe. Huh? Almost back. And I think there is a certain truth to the concept that Lori is completely gone. Bob and I sort of thought, well, when the world doesn't end on all the dates that she's so convinced it's going to end, that maybe she's going to have a realization that she's not God and all the things she believed are not true. I mean, you have to bear in mind that since she was a child, she grew up with a whole community and her father, and people expect it was normal to get revelations from God, to hear messages from God, to speak for God. So, I mean, this is what she had been accustomed to, and what's really crazy about this is that, and her son himself has said it, like, that she was an amazing mother when he was younger. She worked in the community, she worked with kids, she taught religious songs, and those are all old. And I know Bob was talking earlier about how he became so emotional when we were recording the podcast, and I know where that sort of stems from, because Bob had his mother sort of cut ties with him. Long story, but I always thought the only explanation could be that there was some mental health issues there or something like that, because Bob always said to me she was such an amazing mother, like his entire life. So for her to just cut ties for 20 years and not want anything to do with him, um, or his kids, like, just always crushed him. And he had always said that like it's just made no sense because she was such an amazing, loving mom when during his childhood, like before his parents divorced. So I know, he connected to Lori's son in that way, subconsciously, but
I don't I don't know if she has been diagnosed with delusional disorder, because they challenged her competency on a couple of occasions, and and remember,
I think that they
competency
did.
and
I think that they did do an evaluation and had, I mean, you
well,
have to
in
come
her
up.
first trial, they definitely did. Like they sent her in, they said she was incompetent for a while. So, but I don't know, like that's what I'm saying. When they're challenging your competency, they don't give you a diagnosis. They're not like, oh, yeah, she's got a delusional disorder. Either you're competent, meaning that you understand the proceedings that are going on, or you don't. That's competency. It's different.
Correct, but the doctors do diagnoses, and they do a whole because they do a whole workup. So they oh, wait, you're talking about
Mm,
competency. No, didn't they
competency.
challenge her fitness too? I'm
I,
pretty sure they
I just thought it was competency.
well, in a competency evaluation, they can, depending on how deep they do, say that they won't do a full thing, like you're saying,
I've
they won't
never
do
seen
a
it
full psychological, but I've seen them where they say, "Well, he
because I
might
had that
have."
pastor that had the God complex. Remember?
Yeah.
Like he was same
You
shit.
challenged his fitness, though.
I
You
challenge his competency.
his fitness to stand trial.
His competency. Yeah.
Well, right.
They're one and the same.
Right,
Fitness and
yeah,
trial
so
is
I'm sitting
competency.
here thinking about if she was not declaring insanity, but right,
Well, they couldn't declare it out there. They
right.
don't have it in Idaho. Remember, that's the
So they
carve
do
out.
some sort of but they do some in a fitness, but yeah, not a
Yeah,
full.
no.
Sorry, I don't I was thinking about the difference between insanity and fitness and just you're saying competence, and I just kept thinking insanity and fitness, and Bob is accurate, fitness and competency is the exact same thing. It's a
Mhm.
little perimenopause brain going on right there.
Oh, oh, good.
Uh,
I'm fortunate I don't suffer from perimenopause. I'm lucky.
uh
Yeah, I think it was just competency. But competency and fitness are the same thing.
Right, but she's saying,
Um,
like, yeah, they never did an insanity thing because they don't have
no, because
insanity
they
out there.
couldn't. Well,
Right,
they had that carve out, like where you could challenge
right, but they didn't do that.
the mens rea, right? Well, she wouldn't have allowed for it.
Mm-mm.
Like that was the thing.
So I think he's right though, they may have. Like, we can't say one way or the other if but I think that I kind of feel like I remember something about them saying that there was signs of a delusional disorder, and obviously you would expect that. I mean, she literally thought she was, you know, a goddess. Wait, what did this say? Or what are they talking about? They sent me an official letter.
Miss Cat says, "Be very careful with Benadryl. It contains aluminum and passes the blood-brain barrier." Ooh, hmm. Proven to cause early dementia, memory loss, and Alzheimer's. Shit.
Well, thank God I've always, like, really didn't take it because I didn't like it like, making me
I
pass
don't
out.
think I've ever taken Benadryl, ever. But you know what I took was a shit ton of Zyrtec, which back when I had the GERD or whatever, the acid ingestion, I would take like I'd pound that shit, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that causes cancer." I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "I'm screwed." Pulled the shit off the shelves. I'm like,
Wait,
"Oh my
that's not
god."
Zyrtec's the
No, Zantac,
I was
Zantac,
like, that's the I was starting to what worry if my brain was mixing up again.
Zantac. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. That's it. That's it. Either that or the meth trade, one of the two. It's either me or meth, cooking meth. I think
Right.
that's
Yeah, it's meth.
obviously hun. I'm pretty sure Mandy knows that too.
Yeah. Breaking Bob.
What
Wow,
else?
this is
Oh, so
crazy.
the other thing I was going to say before I brought you to the tissues. I'm working on part 2 of Barton and McNeil. Trust me, I'm not abandoning that in any fashion at all. So, but I'm Darren's trying to clean up
What?
our producer's
Singular.
trying to clean up the interrogation videos so we could actually hear it a little bit. But yeah, Barton's not going anywhere. They were trying, like Bart was trying to call me like while we were on spring break last week, and I kept missing the calls. So this week I'll make sure that I speak with him at
Oh
some
boy.
point.
Easter pictures. Oh my lord. She's just so cute.
Who? Our granddaughter?
Yeah. Oh gosh. Oh my goodness.
Does she have bunny ears on? Oh,
Yeah, Raven
she's
made
with the
bunny ears.
bunny.
Gosh, I'm not gonna be able to stop sniffling and
Yeah, I always post that one picture. It's like an old timey Easter picture where the kids are like, it's in black and white, and the kids are
where are the
screaming in
alley
terror.
barbs? What does that mean, the alley barbs?
Where?
She says, I saw someone on another channel was saying, where are all the alley barbs? Or is that
I
like
don't know
supposed
what
to
it.
be an H like Babs? Alley Babs.
If the defense
Oh,
can produce
Oh, here we go.
text
right.
messages or some information to provide to the court that shows he does
All
text
right.
messages or
And that's where he started, guys.
if the defense can produce text messages or some information to provide to the court that shows he does in fact have relevant information, he might be called as a witness. But so far, the court can't find that Mr. Boudreau has any relevant information to this case. Therefore, Mr. Boudreau struck again without prejudice from the witness list. He can
Wow.
remain in the courtroom. We're going to bring the jury in.
Wow. Struck
The
him.
other matters that were raised by the defense, we'll talk about at another time when the jury's not waiting.
So I can tell you this judge is super frustrated by that, like that he had to take that time and let her make her record so that he could tell her, nope, you can't call your witness, because that's one of the most extreme, rulings that a court can make. So, and I think he's just feeling the weight of how this is going to go, seeing just how that just went. You know what I mean? Like seeing how far off she is and what she thinks is relevant and what she thinks that should come in at trial and how much time might have to be spent doing what he just did. All right. Bring the jury in.
Coming.
I think we're live.
Are we?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. When it does that, then you know.
Will bring the jury. You will.
I was trying to get a couple more sound bites in that I wanted.
You know what we need? Like the godly halo sound. We should use that here.
Or like a harp.
Yeah. Yeah, that thing.
Yeah. That noise.
Oh God. Yes, Lynn. Poor judge. He's got the patience of a saint.
So our granddaughter was fine with the bunny, but our firefighter son thought he was creepy.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's real standoffish, Brian. It's like,
Yeah, he doesn't look happy. He doesn't have his arm around the bunny.
what? I don't recall getting an invite to whatever this is.
They went and saw a Easter bunny at a mall.
I want to go to everything,
Yeah.
but I wasn't here. So
Even if you were, you wouldn't have gotten the invite. You know it. I know it. We both know it.
does anyone know if he put a timer on the openings? I would suspect he would with the
I don't know if he has. No, it's not, you got it all wrong, Jacqueline. It's our daughter-in-law is like
Hey,
ruling with an iron fist in
hey,
terms of us
stop.
being able to see the baby.
That's
What?
not
You
true.
guys don't
She's
listen to our
perfect
shit?
and wonderful. No, somebody might.
What?
She's
Nah,
perfect and wonderful.
she is perfect and wonderful. She just rules seeing the baby with an iron fist.
Testified to by a witness who has been sworn in and is answering questions from the witness stand. Therefore, it is important to remember that what is said by both the prosecutor and the defendant in opening statements and later in closing arguments is not evidence. The purpose of an opening statement is to help you prepare for anticipated evidence. The state can proceed.
Thank you,
Right.
Your Honor.
All right.
Are you going to use, yeah, put a mic over there.
Wait, I thought she's not allowed to get real close to the jury.
The state's starting.
Yeah, but he's having the state follow the same rules as Lori.
She's got a shock belt on. She'll be fine.
So I'm going to need you to stay close to me the next couple days. Mel, too. She can't go to Utah. They're planking some kind of intervention, but want Mel out of the way, so I'm left alone. I need to come get the stuff at your house tomorrow and secure it. Lots to do. Thanks for standing by me. It's all coming to a head this week. I will be like Nephi, I am told, and so will you. Lori Daybell, the woman seated over here, wrote this to her brother, Alex Cox, on July 9th of 2019, 2 days before they killed Charles Vallow. But to understand why this is so meaningful, why this is relevant, you have to understand the context. So let's talk about it. In July of 2019, Lori Vallow was married to Charles Vallow. Lori Vallow lived here in Arizona, Chandler. Charles Vallow lived in Texas. In July of 2019, Lori Daybell was Lori Vallow, married to Charles Vallow. In July of 2019, Lori Vallow wanted to be Lori Daybell, wife of Chad Daybell. And in July of 2019, Lori Vallow wanted to keep the same lifestyle that she had with Charles. And she could get all of this if Charles was dead. She could marry Chad Daybell and become Lori Daybell. She would get $1 million life insurance policy from Charles Vallow. She would get Social Security for herself and their son, JJ, as a child of a dead spouse. And all of this would be true if Charles Vallow was dead. So what about Nephi? Well, Lori Vallow, Chad Daybell, and Alex Cox all believed that those who disagreed with them were dark, possessed by evil spirits, sometimes called Z's or zombies. Sometimes they had names for these evil spirits like Ned. Lori, Chad, and Alex used religion, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and a story of Nephi, a prophet, who was directed by the Holy Spirit to kill Laban, to obtain brass plates and secure the long-term prosperity of Nephi's descendants. Lori used this religion and the story of Nephi as justification to kill Charles Vallow, just like Nephi killed Laban. On July 9th of 2019, Lori Vallow invoked Nephi when she messaged Alex to provide them with that religious authority to kill Charles. After months of trying to get rid of him, they were finally ready to be like Nephi.
I'm just going to pause right here because that I believe is new. I don't think that we ever heard about those texts because they would have not been relevant at the trial that involved the death of her children. That sort of changes everything for me because I came into this thinking that this would be very hard to prove because at the time the police decided that it was self-defense. Her daughter took her side of the story. There was no one to prove any other side of the story, and there was also no one to say that if even if it wasn't self-defense, that Lori told Alex what to do. So these texts and this story of Nephi, which again, maybe people have been covering um the pretrial of this, they know about this Nephi story, but it's the missing piece, I think, to finding some liability in this for Lori Vallow. But we'll see if she's got some other, because I'll tell you this much, they can take the prosecution can take facts and a religious story. I don't know what the right word would be but um and kind of twist it to fit their narrative, and maybe Lori has a completely different explanation. But my example of that was the prosecutor telling the jury, if you did not agree with Chad and Lori, you were dark. Okay, that is not necessarily true. Now, could it have been that one or both? Because this was one of the battles Bob and I had at the other trial, because I thought Chad was the one saying whose people's color was and what their number was. So why would he be making her children dark? She didn't make them dark. Um, so that's I don't think that I think that is misleading to the jury for the prosecution to take the position that you got labeled dark if you didn't agree with with Chad and Lori. And I venture to guess that now Lori is going to be able to, it sort of to me opens the door for a lot of her, I don't know, I'll just call them religious beliefs, because even though again this is not, the actual beliefs of Latter-day Saints or um what's the other, end of days religion, whatever. But it does sort of open the door for her to get in how there is some, and even in the LDS, a black, a dark, and a light, a demon and an angel, a good and a bad, and this they have this belief that everybody started in heaven and you made a deal either with God, with light or dark, and then you came down depending on which decision you made. Did you sign the contract with God? Did you sign a contract with Satan? We did all of this research for the podcast. Um
Oh, Allie was calling Mormon churches trying to get them to like teach her, like, oh, so can you I mean, and that's what I was gonna say, babe. They're not gonna have to dive quite as deep into the entire kind of backstory with Chad as they did with the Idaho trial, because it predates it.
yeah, but
But
she's opening the door here saying that Chad Lori, and Alex used religion to blah blah blah, and you're dark if you disagreed with them, and
well, what I was
I don't
gonna
know.
say is, do you think that the prosecutor had to bone up? Because you really, if you're not Mormon, like, you have to bone up on the religion. Like, we couldn't have done that series that we did on Lori without boning up on the Mormon religion and the bastardized versions of it
Right, because
in order to be
although
able to thoughtfully talk about it.
what Lori and Chad, what they kind of spun off, that is like Bob said, a bastardized version of it, but their underlying beliefs stem from that, so it's very relevant, kind of like the fundamentals there,
Yeah, it's
show
cool.
how they twist it, how they twisted it, and whether that was intentional or, you know, just becoming religious delusions, whatever the case may be. All right, I'm sorry. I'm getting way, way too deep
You in the weeds, girl.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I'll
that
let
phone call of Chad calling the funeral home was the perfect example of why Chad wasn't running shit. That guy's a blockhead, bro. Blockhead. All right, kick it.
all right.
So how did this begin? We go back to 2018. Lori Vallow met Chad Daybell. You will learn that in November of 2018,
2019,
that Chad Daybell came to Arizona for a Preparing the People conference.
November 5th.
And he and others stayed at Lori and Chad's house. Charles was actually out of town with JJ. Lori and Chad acted as if there was nothing between them, but nothing could be further from the truth. By January of 2019, Lori Vallow claimed that Charles Vallow was possessed by an evil spirit that she called Ned. You will see text messages where Lori and Alex refer to him as Ned.
But Charles gave them that.
During this trial, you're going to hear from some women who initially were close in Lori's circle. These women will tell you they met her through the Preparing the People conference. They are spiritual women within the LDS church. And initially they found Lori's spirituality infectious. But the more they listened to Lori, the more they started to find concern with what she was saying. One of them called it red flags. Lori began saying things like she didn't need to repent, that she was beyond that. And you'll hear from these women that that goes against everything that their religion follows. Everyone must repent. You will hear from Serena Sharp that in March of 2019, she attended a girls' weekend with Lori and some other women. They went to the temple, they had lunch, they did volunteer activities, and then Lori asked them to do something a little unusual. She told them that her husband was possessed by an evil spirit,
Casting
and she
time.
referred to that as Ned. She told them that Charles was no longer in his body. She asked them to come together and try to cast out this evil spirit. Serena will tell you that she didn't ask Lori.
I'm sorry, I have to say, I think this was a bad idea. I think that the prosecution should have stuck with what they opened, the very beginning of their opening, that she wanted Charles out of her life. She wanted control of ultimately his money and then to get rid of the kids with nobody watching. Like this whole thing is unnecessary to the story. And I'll tell you, I think if you look at the evidence, stand back and look at it, that the evidence is going to suggest that she damn well believed that. She damn well believed that he was Ned. And she damn well might have believed that he was dark. And she damn well might have believed that he wasn't in his body anymore. This was at the beginning of all of that. So I don't think she needed this. She could have literally just stuck with she she wanted to get rid of her husband. She wanted control of the money because they got all of that, that she went right away trying to get the money, that she wanted no one around so that she could get rid of her children and that she could keep moving up, moving up, moving up. She didn't have to say word one about Ned. She didn't have to say anything about dark and light. I just don't understand why they went that route. I mean, what do you think, babe?
I tend to agree. I think she's making it more difficult. I already, and I saw it in the chat from some people that didn't follow the initial trial, that they're already lost in the narrative. You know
All
what I'm
right. So
saying?
we need to give a little background maybe, but maybe Lori's opening will do that. But Chad for sure, Chad is the one. So in Chad's book and when he was speaking, he developed this way to determine if people were dark or light, and then he developed a numbering system. So of like how dark you were getting. So he definitely told Lori that Chad was dark and told Lori that Chad was named Ned. Like that was the name of the demon that was possessing his soul. And
Until they
did
came
this.
up with a better name.
I thought it was wrong.
No, they eventually came up with a better name than Ned the demon, but it was initially Ned. Do you
And-
like? So I like is in what world do you think that they'd be able to keep her convictions in Idaho out as 404B?
Well, so I was thinking about that because it does show a pattern and it does show a motive because
Right.
she control the money, transferring money to bank accounts, the death of somebody by Alex. So I again, I don't know if
She knows, y'all. She knows it. She just misspoke. It's going to be a
oh,
long
sorry.
trial. We'll misspeak on things. We know the case. We know that Chad was not dark. At least, in their minds. The reality
Chad
is
was most assuredly freaking
he was
dark.
dark as
He was
hell.
the darkest they get.
He was dark as hell.
And he actually did some research because he gave him a full name. And I think that it was like someone that he knew once. I don't know. I was trying to look through my notes because I kind of forgot. But and now maybe she just opened the door to putting Boudreaux as relevant, you know. Yeah, and what Travis is saying right here. So um sh- she very well may have just made Boudreaux very, very relevant because the story before was that her family, she was afraid they were coming to hurt her, to take away, like to do something to her. Like she just called it an intervention. Um, but so they were like on high alert. But this whole text, that's why I said this whole text story that she opened with changes the narrative because it paints a picture quite different than what Lori was saying, if that's what those texts, but that's what those texts could mean. Um, but I just don't think that I think she did a yes, castings is what she's going to get into. That's what they did to try and they did it remotely. So you sit in a room, it's like a little Dungeons and Dragons thing, like you're sitting in a room and you're saying spells. Some people are throwing rocks and some people are doing, you know, swords. I just threw rocks. I just threw swords, dust in his eye. But they're doing it all remotely to try and cast the demon out so that Charles can live. Yes, there's a portal that we can't get into all that now. Come on, Mandy. Whew. So sorry, guys. I'll
All right,
just
play it.
let it go. Yeah.
What would happen to Charles if that evil spirit went? She only knew that she had said Charles was already gone. She didn't know if he would come back or his body would just die. Later that month, on March 26th of 2019, Alex Cox texted his sister, LORI VALLOW, and said, quote, "Ned is still alive, just confirmed." Lori responded, "It's not Ned. It's a new one. Ned is gone. No one has seen him, right? Just talk to him, question mark." Alex said, "Correct. Charles' body is alive." "What did you learn, question mark?" And Lori responded, "A lot. Still working on it. We'll call you later." As the year went by, Lori and Alex became more determined to get rid of Charles Vallow's body, whatever they wanted to call him. You will hear from Christina Atwood that she attended a gathering on June 9th of 2019. Again with Lori and some close friends, but this time Alex Cox attended. This was the first time she had met him. Christina will tell you that she heard Alex say that he just wanted to kill Charles. In fact, she heard him say this a couple times. And she heard Lori say, in response, that she had been drugging Charles, crushing up JJ's pills and putting them in Charles's protein drinks. Christina will tell you she was so disturbed by this that she actually went and confronted Lori the next day and told her that if Charles ended up dead, she would have to go to the police. That's how disturbed she was. Now, Lori, of course, said it was all a joke. What else could she say? But 1 month later, Alex and Lori created that situation to be like Nephi and killed Charles. What about Charles? You're going to learn that Charles and Lori had been together for a long time. They had adopted one of Charles's family members' children, JJ. JJ was everything to Charles. JJ was the reason Charles and Lori were still together. You'll learn that Charles knew about Lori's beliefs, that he was called Nick or Ned or some name. You will learn that Charles told a lot of people about this. And on February 26th of 2019, Charles made a big decision. He had $1 million life insurance policy, and his wife, Lori Vallow, had been the beneficiary. He changed it. He changed it to his sister, Kay Woodcock. You will learn he did not have to notify Lori about it, and she had no idea. You'll learn that Charles desperately wanted to bring Lori back to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. You will learn that he was close with Lori's brother, Adam, and he was reaching out to him during this time period. You will hear from Adam. Adam will tell you that he himself had heard the defendant say things that were outside the LDS religion, that she was translated. Charles was possessed. He knew she was no longer following the LDS faith. Then, June 28th, Charles found out that Lori and Chad were having an affair. You will hear that he reached out to Lori about it, Chad's wife, and out to Adam Cox about it. Now, you're going to hear about a lot of these things because the police executed numerous search warrants. You're going to hear that they executed search warrants on cell phone records, cell tower records, and iCloud accounts. You're going to learn that an iCloud account is basically a service through Apple where you can store everything, photos, emails, documents, whatever you want. This can be intentional.
Too many kids.
Or sometimes it can be unintentional. Your phone or your computer may be saving items there without you even realizing it. You'll learn that for years, Lori Vallow had an iCloud account that was loriforstyle@icloud.com. But after Charles learned about Chad Daybell on that June 28th, she created a new iCloud account, LollyTime@iCloud account. Many of these text messages between Lori and others that you're going to hear about at trial were recovered from those two iCloud accounts. You're also going to learn about Charles's cell phone. The police eventually recovered it, and they were able to extract the data, look at the messages and things that had been in there. And you're going to learn about those text messages with Adam Cox from July 9th through the 11th. You're going to hear from Adam that they were talking about an intervention. That may be recording Lori, saying these things and taking those recordings to the stake president, or just confronting the stake president about it. They didn't have an exact plan, but on July 9th, Adam agreed to fly to Phoenix to help try to talk to his sister, talk to the stake president, get her back into this faith. Ultimately, Adam flew to Phoenix on the 10th, as did Charles. Adam will tell you that he actually, when he got his reservation on the 9th from Charles, reached out to his brother, Alex. He asked to stay with him. And Alex said, sure. You'll see phone records. They had a conversation about it. But when Adam flew into Phoenix on the 10th, remember, that's after that message by Lori that he needed to stay close to her. Adam tried texting his brother. Adam tried calling his brother. And Alex didn't respond. Adam didn't know that his brother Alex had been summoned to help his sister Lori be like Nephi, that it was time to kill Charles. The text messages from Lori to Alex about that intervention that she knew about and being like Nephi show that by the evening of July 9th of 2019, Lori knew that Charles was trying to have an intervention. an intervention. In that text message, remember, she said they are trying to have an intervention. She knew it was Charles and others. She also told her brother he had to stay close for the next couple days because she knew that she was going to be seeing Charles on the 11th when he came over to pick up their son, JJ, to take him to school. She told him, it's all coming to a head this week. I will be like Nephi, I am told, and so will you. A few minutes after Lori had texted Alex that message on July 9th that they were going to be like Nephi, Alex called his sister Lori, and they talked for over 56 minutes, planning how they were going to get rid of Charles. Alex would stay close with his gun, and he and Lori would be like Nephi. July 10th of 2019 is a day before Charles was killed. We know from text messages that by 7:18 p.m., Alex was already at Lori's house. He brought a garbage bag with some clothes and an orange duffel bag with his .45 caliber handgun and 2 extra magazines of ammunition. He was prepared. We also know that the evening of July 10th, Charles sent a message to Lori letting her know that he would be over at 7:30 a.m. the next day to pick up JJ, to take him to school. Lori and Alex knew exactly when this murder would happen and where it would happen. They just had to make sure that Charles stayed in the house. You'll hear that on the evening of July 10th, Charles spent his last night alive on a date. He had been on several dating apps and appeared to be moving on. You will hear from his date, Nancy Jo, that she and Charles had met on an LDS dating site a few days before. You will hear that she had talked to him and texted him for hours. Sometimes they would talk for 3 hours on the phone. Nancy Jo will tell you that Charles told her about everything of his relationship, his wife's beliefs, everything that was going on. And he had told her about this change to the beneficiary of his life insurance. She will tell you it sounded like a lot of drama, but she still was interested and wanted to meet this person, and so they met that evening for dinner. She'll tell you that she understood on the 11th that Charles would be picking up his son, that he was actually going to meet a realtor about finding a place to rent here so he could be closer to JJ, and that he was going to try to get in touch with Adam to meet up. And then they were supposed to meet later in the day. She will also tell you that she actually told Charles, kind of joking, but in a way to end the drama, why don't you just tell Lori that you changed the life insurance policy so she knows it's not her? Nancy Jo will tell you the next day, she texted Charles, she called him, and she actually thought he had ghosted her. She didn't know he was dead until a few months later when she saw something on the news, a photo of him, and actually learned that he had been killed on July 11th. So let's talk about July 11th. That morning, Lori Vallow was up early and she was texting with Chad Daybell. You'll learn that we do not have those text messages. They were not saved in the iCloud, but we have them from the phone records. Alex was already at Lori's house with his gun, and everyone knew that Charles was a punctual person and would be there around 7:30 to pick up JJ so he could get to school. You're going to learn that, like many people, Charles had left his GPS data locating service on his phone. So that means when his phone is moving around, it was constantly documenting with GPS the location of the phone. During this trial, you're actually going to see this data mapped out. You'll be able to see Charles come to the house, and then you're going to see his phone leave with the defendant.
So Charles is JJ's biological uncle, or maybe great uncle.
Yeah, I think it was his great uncle.
Right.
And Charles was Kay Woodcock's older brother, in case people don't know. And Kay is, you know,
JJ's
the heart, yeah.
grandmother.
Yeah, she's the heartbeat of the family. Like Kay's always, she's definitely at this trial. I know.
And I think that, Bob, you and I decided that it seemed that Lori took Charles's phone to drag him outside to do something. I can't remember, but she like did something.
Yeah.
Or took
Right. Well,
hid
yeah.
it maybe so that he had to come back in to look for it. I don't remember, but maybe
yeah, it was something that we'll get to all that. Like they're definitely going to get to that because it's a huge part of the story. Additionally, they're going to show the when Charles had to call the cops and they came out and he's like begging them He's like, she's lost her mind. Like, I'm just telling you, it's like she's taking my truck. She's moved all of the shit out of our house. Like, she's got the kids. Like, I don't know, but she's insane. And the
Right.
cops are like,
And she's
yeah,
gonna kill me. I'm pretty sure he said that.
yeah, 100%. He
Yeah.
definitely said that. And others.
And others. All right.
And what she does all day with it.
I'll
Phone
rewind.
leave with the defendant, and what she does all day with it. What we know is that Charles arrived at Lori's house at about 7:35. He texted Adam Cox and told him that Alex, or Al, is here. You'll see from photos that Alex's truck was parked in the driveway. Adam responded, really, I wonder why he never called me back. Charles didn't respond to that. Adam then texted, they're planning something. And Charles responded, absolutely. Adam told Charles, I was supposed to spend the night at his house last night. She probably blocked that. Charles told Adam, what you do is up to you. Adam then told Charles he was going to reach out to Alex and ask him to come get him and see what Alex would do. And in fact, he did text his brother. You'll learn that Charles read that text message from Adam, but he didn't respond. Adam sent one more text message to Charles at 7:49 a.m. on July 11th. He told him that he and his son were going to go play basketball at 8 p.m. to look for a specific church leader who was usually there and have a conversation with him. Charles Vallow never read that message, but you will learn that Lori and Alex did. Charles went to the front door of 5531 South Four Peaks Place, a house that he had rented for his wife, Lori Vallow, a house that he paid for. Charles would have had to knock on the door, alerting Lori and Alex that he was there. He got JJ, put him out in the car. And then Lori Vallow created the reason to keep Charles from just leaving with JJ.
Ah, there it is. Here it comes.
Lori Vallow wanted to stop this intervention. Lori Vallow wanted to stop Charles and Adam from trying to take her temple recommend away. Lori Vallow, who wanted to be Lori Daybell, and Lori Vallow, who wanted Charles's money. So Lori took Charles's cell phone, and she refused to give it back. Lori Vallow, or Lori Daybell, whatever name you want to call her by, is why Charles didn't just leave with JJ that morning. Lori Vallow is why Alex was able to shoot Charles. Lori Vallow is why Charles is dead. So I want to tell you a little bit about the scene, this house, so you can understand what's happening here. When you walk in the front door, there's a big room. It was empty, no furniture. There were mirrors on 2 of the walls, windows on a 3rd wall, and the 4th wall had doorways going into the kitchen and a hallway off to the bedrooms. This is where Charles Vallow was killed. This is where Alex Cox shot him 2 times. The first shot to Charles Vallow was to his chest. It exited out his back. Charles Vallow fell to the ground. He put his left hand to this wound and blood transferred onto it. You will hear from the medical examiner that this shot went through his heart and that a person can take seconds to up to 2 minutes to die from that type of wound. You will hear that a person can still talk and move after they're shot in the heart. And we know Charles was able to move since he put his dominant left hand on his chest and transferred that blood to his hand. You will see that. As Charles lay on the floor of 5531 South Four Peaks Place, Alex Cox stood at his feet and fired a second shot. That shot entered his abdomen and it exited his left shoulder. The angle was significantly upward. Dr. Baumgartner, who is the medical examiner, will tell you that this wound was shored. You will learn that shored means that there was something hard behind that wound. So when the bullet exited it, it caused a different tearing pattern than the other wound that exited Charles's back. It is this shored wound, this exit on Charles's left shoulder, that shows us that there was nothing accidental about this second shot. You will learn from the cell phone that at 7:49, Lori left Charles's house, or left her house with Charles's cell phone, his wallet, his rental car, and JJ and Tylee. She drove to Burger King, Walgreens, dropped JJ off at school before she and her daughter Tylee drove back to the house. During this time, while Lori is driving around in Charles's car with his phone, she spoke with her brother Alex twice. The first call was at 7:52 a.m., 3 minutes after she left. The second call was at 8:06 a.m., 17 minutes after she left. You will hear that when Alex and Lori are talking, neither of them had called 911 yet. In fact, you will hear that Alex didn't call 911 until 47 minutes after Lori left. Charles Vallow lay dead on the floor of that house for 47 minutes before he called 911. During this 47 minutes, Alex began staging the scene and making mistakes. You're going to learn that the police found a bat that was located on the right side of Charles to the north of his head. Like he had been holding it, and when he was shot, it fell, it dropped, it rolled up against one of the walls that had mirrors on it.
He definitely had the bat. Come on.
What you're going to learn that is, Alex forgot that Charles was left-handed. In fact, you're going to learn that Charles was a semi-professional baseball player.
So wait, are they saying that Tylee lied? Because Tylee said he had the bat. But
She said Charles had the bat.
yeah.
Right. I mean,
Pitched, and he batted left-handed. So that bat was on the wrong side. Next, you're going to hear about an injury to Alex himself. Lori had told police that Charles hit Alex in the head with this bat before Alex shot Charles. Classic self-defense. But in all cases, we must look at the physical evidence because it doesn't lie. And the physical evidence doesn't have a bias or a memory loss. Sometimes it's the lack of physical evidence that doesn't lie. So again, we know that this room where Charles was shot had no furniture, mirrors, 2 walls. You learn that although Lori claimed that Charles hit Alex with that bat and then Alex shot him in self-defense, that Alex's gun had no blood transferred on it. Alex was allegedly struck in the head with a bat by a semi-professional baseball player. Doesn't go unconscious, and he never touches that injury. Pulls out a gun, is able to shoot this man twice, and then he takes the gun down a hallway and puts it into a room. Never apparently touching his head or this wound. And again, Lori says that Alex was hit with the bat in this room by Charles. But again, what we don't see is any blood on the floor. Charles strikes Alex in the head with a bat. They're grappling on the ground. There's not a single drop of blood on the ground in that room. There's pooling of blood around Charles as he lay there on the ground. There's not a drop of blood going down the hallway to where Alex put the gun. There's not a drop of blood in the room where Alex put that gun. There's not a drop of blood on the floor in the kitchen where Alex went to go wash his hands. There are no towels, sheets, clothing, napkins with blood on them where Alex was holding his head and trying to stop this bleeding from this injury. You will see on body-worn camera, Alex Cox, who's on with 911, come out of the house. He will have a phone in one hand and his other hand up, and you will notice that he actually has a pair of sunglasses resting on the top of his head. You will see at some point, Alex sits down, and they ask him to move to another location. They talk to him for a while, and then you'll see him eventually touch his head a few times, and then he obtains a napkin or towel, something, and you'll see him at times rubbing his head, patting it. That is the only bloody item you will see. Those sunglasses on Alex's head. He is struck in the head by a baseball player while grappling on the ground. He then pulls out a gun and shoots his brother puts away this gun, deals with his injury, and yet those sunglasses are still right there on the top of his head. No blood on the floors, no blood on the gun, no damage to the mirrors, bad on the wrong side. The lack of physical evidence to help support this self-defense claim. Next, trajectory. The medical examiner will talk to you about the trajectory through Charles's body. The detectives are going to talk to you about the trajectory through the room. Dr. Baumgartner will tell you that the trajectory of that first shot to Charles, the one that went through his chest, through his heart, and out his back, was front to back and slightly downward. It will be less than an inch downward. The detectives will tell you that the bullet from that shot, actually, as it exited Charles's back, ended up across the room in the baseboard. They pulled it out and recovered it. Both of them will say that this shot is consistent with Charles being standing upright with a person in front of him. The gun could be slightly down, or his hand could cause that little bit of downward angle. Dr. Baumgartner will tell you that that second shot that entered Charles's abdomen and exited his left shoulder, that the trajectory of that shot was front to back and significantly upward, 13 inches upward. Dr. Baumgartner is also the one who will tell you about that shored wound. What you will hear from the detectives, though, is that when they found Charles on the ground, off to the side of his left shoulder was the other bullet on the ground, not embedded. They'll also tell you that when they finally moved Charles, they took his body away, they cleaned up the blood on the ground, and they noticed a defect in the flooring, in the wood, consistent with a bullet striking the ground. That defect was located where Charles's left shoulder had been. You will hear that both Dr. Baumgartner and the detectives found the trajectory. The wounds were consistent with Charles laying on the ground, Alex being at his feet when that second shot was fired. The physical evidence does not lie. Charles was on the ground when Alex Cox fired that second shot. The injuries to Charles, the location of the bullet strikes, the trajectory of the injuries both in Charles and in the house all show this was not self-defense. This was a staged murder scene. I told you that Lori Vallow left the house at 7:49 a.m., and we know this because of Charles Vallow's cell phone. The 911 call was placed at 8:36 a.m., 47 minutes later. The police arrived at 5531 South Four Peaks Place at about 8:41 a.m. Lori Vallow and her daughter Tylee returned to the house at 8:48 a.m. When the police first contacted Lori Vallow, they thought she had no idea that her husband was dead, that he'd been shot and killed. Initially, you will see body cam footage of an officer going up and just getting her information. Lori doesn't ask, why are all these police here? Why is there a fire truck here? Why is my brother sitting on the ground over there? Or is he okay? Instead, she comments about her neighbors. You'll learn that the police then pulled her aside to do what they call a death notification, to let her know that her husband was dead. Only to their surprise, she told them she knew she was there. So at this point, the police knew they needed to take her to the police station and question her. You'll learn that Lori Vallow was interviewed by the police. She was treated very kindly. The police asked her what happened. Lori Vallow told the police that she took Charles's cell phone. She admitted that she was the reason that Charles didn't just leave and take JJ to school. She told police in no uncertain terms that Charles was demanding his phone back, and she refused to give it back. She told the police that even as Charles screamed at her for his phone, she walked away from him, wouldn't give it to him. No matter what happened or what Charles said or did, she would not give his phone back to him. Lori told police that her daughter Tylee came out of the room during the screaming with a bat, that Charles took it away from Tylee, and Tylee fell on the ground, and she told Tylee to go out to the car with JJ. She still didn't return the phone. She told police that Alex came out, that he and Charles got into this scuffle with the bat, that Charles hit him in the head with the bat. She still didn't give Charles back the phone. What she did instead was take his phone and go around that wall into the kitchen. Left the situation. Time to let brother Alex be Nephi. While she's in the kitchen, she said she heard the gunshot, came out, saw Charles on the ground, and her brother standing at Charles's feet. Then she told the police she left. You'll learn that the police actually had no idea that Lori still had Charles's phone. Even when they're interviewing her, she still had it. Police are processing the house, looking for it. Where is it? I can't find it. Later in the afternoon, you'll hear that the police actually called Lori and Alex and asked them to come back to the scene. And when Lori arrived, they told her they couldn't find Charles's phone. And she told the detective that she found the phone in the car. Found it in the car. She gave Charles's phone to Detective Enclan and then provided her with Charles's PIN number to get into the phone. You'll learn that after those interviews in the morning, Lori and Alex went back to Alex's house in Sandham. And there they went through Charles's phone. You'll learn that Alex actually took photos of some of the messages between Charles and Adam, including Adam's flight reservations. And he later sent those to his sister, Lori. July 11th. Lori didn't tell any of Charles's family he was dead. She didn't tell Adam that Charles was dead. She certainly knows they'd been talking. The next day, Lori texted Charles's sons from his prior marriage and told them, "Your dad is dead." Charles's sons reached out to their Aunt Kay about this, and you'll learn that Kay and her husband had to Google this, see if it was true. They found out that Charles had been shot. So what about the money? That life insurance policy. Charles Vallow had $1 million life insurance policy. When he got it, his wife, Lori Vallow, was the beneficiary. We know that Charles died on a Thursday, July.
Oops.
His sons from his prior marriage
Sorry.
and told them, "Your dad is dead." See if it was true. Life insurance policy. Vallow was the beneficiary. We know that Charles died on a Thursday, July 11th. That next Monday, July 15th, Lori Vallow called Banner Life Insurance. The call was recorded and you'll hear it. She told the agent that Charles had been accidentally shot. It was an accident. And that she was a beneficiary. Both of those statements are not correct. There was nothing accidental about that shooting, and she was not the beneficiary. 3 days later, on July 18th, Lori Vallow learned that she was not the beneficiary. Banner Life Insurance could not and would not tell her who Charles had changed it to. But Lori was angry about it. And you're going to learn that on July 18th of 2019, there's another very important text message in this case. The first one on July 9th between Lori and Alex when they discussed being like Nephi. And on July 18th, 7 days after Lori and Alex killed Charles and Lori learned she is not getting $1 million life insurance policy, she sends a message to Chad Daybell. Quote, "So I talked to the insurance company. He changed it in March. So it was probably Ned before we got rid of him. You can't tell me who, of course, but it's done. I'll still get $4,000 a month from SS." In this text message, Lori tells Chad that it was probably Ned, that evil spirit inhabiting Charles's body, that changed the life insurance policy before they got rid of him, before they killed him. After Lori found out that she was not the beneficiary, she was so angry that she actually went through Charles's laptop, found the beneficiary change form, sent photos of that to Chad. And she also confronted Kay about it. The $1 million she had expected to get was gone, probably Ned before we got rid of him. You can't tell me who, of course, but it's done. I'll still get $4,000 a month from SS. In this text message, Lori tells Chad that it was probably Ned, that evil spirit inhabiting Charles's body, that changed the life insurance policy before they got rid of him, before they killed him. After Lori found out that she was not the beneficiary, she was so angry that she actually went through Charles's laptop, found the beneficiary change form, sent photos of that to Chad. And she also confronted Kay about it. The $1 million she had expected to get was gone, but As Lori told Chad on the 18th, she was still going to get money from the death of Charles. Lori knew already that a month before going to see Social Security, how much money she would get for JJ and for herself as a caregiver as a result of Charles being killed. $4,000 a month. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence in this case is going to show you that LORI VALLOW DAYBELL conspired with her brother, Alex Cox, to kill her husband, Charles Vallow. When Charles let Lori know he was coming into town, she quickly got the pieces into place. Alex came to her house with a gun. Lori created the way to keep Charles inside the house so that Alex and she could be like Nephi. To kill Charles Vallow to better at least her life so she could be with Chad and she could live off that life insurance policy. As we go through this trial, you will see photos of Charles's injury, photos of the crime scene, and hear testimony that will prove that this was not self-defense. As we go through this trial, you'll be provided with phone calls, emails, text messages, and hear testimony that lays out the motive for this murder, money, and Chad Daybell. You will see text messages and hear from people who Lori trusted and who were later pushed away, people who really don't want to be part of this trial, but were pulled into it by this defendant and her desire to get rid of Charles to be with Chad. People who heard Lori for months saying Charles was gone, possessed. People who will establish that this murder was premeditated. You will hear text messages from July 9th by Lori to her brother, Alex Cox, that he had to stay near her, that it was all coming to a head, and she would be like Nephi, and so would he. A justified killing, just like the prophet. And later, the text message to Chad where she told him that Charles changed the life insurance policy before they got rid of Ned. A confession by Lori of how religion and money were twisted to justify Charles's murder. At the end of this trial, the state will come to you and ask you to hold the defendant responsible for the death of Charles Vallow and find her guilty of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. Thank you.
All right. Will the defendant be giving an opening statement? Okay, because of the lunch hour, your opening statement will start after lunch. I'm going to excuse the jury for lunch. I'm going to ask juror 3 to stay back. I need to talk to you about something. Please remember the admonition, jurors. We'll see you. Let's start. Everyone be back in the jury room about 1:20 p.m. and we'll resume at 1:30. Thank you.
All rise for the jury.
You're muted, hon.
Jesus.
Wow.
Is it 1 o'clock there? 1:30 because talking to Scott.
Yeah, so I set another live for 3:20. Mandy, can you send me the thumb? The Vallow thumb?
All right, so I just want to tell you guys a little bit the other side of the whole Ned thing as far as from what I looked up real quick. So, I mean, Nephi, sorry. So, Nephi is the lessons from Nephi, at least under the LDS, is that Nephi's example is used to teach important lessons about faith, diligence, humility, and the importance of following God's commandments, even when they are difficult. So he talks about how he's going to do the things that the Lord has commanded, and his life demonstrates the importance of spiritual resilience and the ability to persevere through challenges and difficulties. Um, so now, did he also kill somebody? Yes, but the answer to that is, where was that? Um, it doesn't seem like it's a big part of the like his story. Um, he killed someone that was unarmed when he was unable to defend himself, and then took possession of the plates through deception and force. So, I mean, I suspect that she's going to be able to um, argue a different interpretation of why they were citing to or talking about Nephi. All right, so what do we want to do, babe?
I'm waiting for Mandy to send me the thumb so I created the live. I just need the thumbnail.
So Tracy, and thanks for your generosity, says the prosecution should have stuck with the affair and the money. No, I 150,000 times agree. We commented on that early on. I thought that she made the whole story very confusing, actually opened the door to a lot of what the judge may have considered irrelevant during this trial. I don't know, because I don't know if he knows the extent of how the prosecution was going to lay all of this out. But to me, it definitely opens the door to why she was afraid of what either Charles and her other brother were cooking up, what they were trying to do to her, how it would, whatever the case may be. I think it opens the door to a lot of that, and she could have just stuck with um, the affair and the money, and importantly, trying to have no one supervising what she was doing with the kids, so she could ultimately get rid of the kids. And then, that makes that very relevant, what later happens to the kids. Um, I don't know why they decided to go this route, turn this into a circus like this, and just I mean, in theory, so much of Lori's, I'll just call them religious beliefs, are sort of now relevant to an extent that they may not have been, because of she went through all of this that was not necessary to prove that they were uh, that they planned to kill him. They could have stuck with just the phone, the trajectory, the baseball bat, the sunglasses were still on his head, and then wanting to get his money, wanting to have an affair, wanting to marry somebody else, and not wanting to have somebody who was monitoring what she was doing with the kids. I think it was a horrible mistake.
Okay. All right. Let's see. All right. I created a live, and I'm going to portal everybody to the new live. Just give me a second to do it here.
And I'll maybe look into what Spitfire says here. Allie, it's so much a part of Nephi's story that the subject of the very first episode of an LDS Living Scripture animated series first episode. I was going to look on some of the LDS resources that they sent me before. That was just like a Google search. So but they definitely are using the what are we saying here? Nephi or Nephi. I keep saying Nelphi for some reason. It's like Delphi. Nephi, I think it's Nephi. But is that he killed an unarmed person who couldn't defend themselves, and that he's saying it was Lori's way of telling Alex it's time to kill Charles by citing to Nephi.
Okay. All right. Afternoon sesh. Okay. All right. So I reportaled. We had everybody portaled to Peter tonight, so I'll portal everybody to Peter from that one. So we have everybody portaled to the afternoon session. I set it for 3:20 Central Standard Time, so that's about 40 minutes.
And what I'd like you to do, babe, is maybe put a questions thing up in the community page. So if people have any questions about background or some things that they were like confused about from the opening, the state's opening, or anything that we've talked about so far, we'll come on a little early and we can answer some of those.
Hey, and how annoying are the ads? It's like, I don't like having to run ads, to be honest with you, during the lives, because they really do crush the flow if you don't have premium. And I know there's a lot of people that don't have premium. I would contemplate acing at least for the lives, the ads, and then just putting the ads on for replay crew.
Woo.
Yeah, pull that off. That was
Right.
loud. So all right, let's yeah, I mean, we have to make a living. So and as much as I love grifting, I hate constantly asking people for supers, and I don't like to do goals every single live. So okay. We love you guys. I'll throw something up in community page if you guys have any questions that you specifically want us to cover, like in the interim before Lori starts her opening in the beginning.
Yeah,
And
we'll answer some questions.
all right, cool. We love you guys. We will see you in 2 and 2. Bye.